A stormy cabinet meeting in Tel Aviv lays bare Israel's deepest fault lines. Generals clashing with far-right ministers over a ceasefire and hostage deal. At the same time, the world's leading genocide scholars deliver a damning verdict. Israel's war in Gaza meets the legal definition of genocide. As international pressure mounts, protests erupt at home, hostages remain in captivity, and Netanyahu doubles down on war. On September 1st, 2025, a stormy Israeli cabinet meeting in Tel Aviv exposed the deep divisions within the country's leadership over a proposed ceasefire and hostage deal with Hamas. According to Hebrew media reports, the nearly 6-hour security cabinet meeting revolved almost entirely around the Israel Defense Forces plans to advance on Gaza City. But the issue of a hostage ceasefire deal, though absent from the agenda, dominated the political clash. Amid the debate, a heated confrontation broke out between IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Eyal Zamir and far-right Settlements Minister Orit Strock, with the latter accusing the IDF Chief of Staff of cowardice by way of a biblical quotation. According to Channel 12, Zamir insisted on raising hostage the deal despite its absence from the agenda. Strock said, in response to Zamir's support for a hostage deal, according to the Kan public broadcaster,
"Is there anyone afraid and disheartened? Let him go back to his home, lest the courage of his comrades flag like his."
Hitting back, Zamir declared that he had two missions: preventing a nuclear Iran and destroying Hamas, leading Strock to once again recite the quotation from the Book of Deuteronomy. In response, Zamir said,
"I called for the recent Israeli operation in Iran and approved strikes everywhere. No one is afraid and disheartened. If you want blind discipline, bring somebody else. I don't want blind discipline, but also not someone who oversteps."
According to quotes published by Channel 12, Strock also took issue with the IDF's practice thus far of avoiding operating in areas where hostages are believed to be held, telling the cabinet,
"There can't be no-go areas in Gaza. It endangers the residents of Israel's Gaza border area and the south. To win the war, we have to control all these areas and not leave them as bubbles of terror above and below ground. We have to make a great effort not to harm them."
Despite the clashes, Zamir reportedly told the cabinet that the IDF will carry out whatever instructions it receives from the political echelon, even if it disagrees with them, winning him plaudits at the meeting, according to the Israel Hayom Daily. During a 6-hour gathering, Zamir's attempt to push negotiations towards a hostage deal was given short shrift by Netanyahu. In the meeting, Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu refused to hold a vote on the proposal, declaring that, "Forget the partial deals, go in with full force, finish it," which he quoted US President Donald Trump as saying, adding that Israel's window of legitimacy from the international community is limited, and that pausing for a partial deal would harm the effort to destroy Hamas. The Hostages and Missing Families Forum responded to leaked detail of the meeting by saying,
Netanyahu is sacrificing the hostages and soldiers on the altar of his political survival, while a concrete proposal sits on the table, approved by Hamas, which could become the framework of an agreement that would return the last hostage and end the war.
National Security Minister Ben-Gvir proposed holding a vote on the partial hostage deal in order to see it being defeated in a vote, but the Prime Minister said this was not necessary. Despite Netanyahu's dismissal, far-right ministers pressed him to hold a vote to formally reject the deal, while several security chiefs and cabinet members argued in favour. The deal in question was first accepted by Hamas on August 18th. It would see the release of 10 living hostages and the return of the remains of 18 dead hostages. In exchange, Israel would release hundreds of Palestinian security prisoners, as well as 1,000 Gazan detainees, and agree to a 60-day ceasefire. During that pause, negotiations would continue over the remaining 20 hostages, of whom 10 to 12 are believed to be alive, alongside talks for a permanent end to the war. The world's leading Genocide Scholars Association has issued a landmark resolution declaring that Israel's actions in Gaza meet the legal definition of genocide. 86% of voting members of the International Association of Genocide Scholars, a 500-member body founded in 1994, backed the resolution. It states,
Israel's policies and actions in Gaza meet the legal definition of genocide in Article 112 of the United Nations Convention for the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide, 1948.
The resolution, adopted on September 1st, said,
Israel should immediately cease all acts that constitute genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity against Palestinians in Gaza, including deliberate attacks against and killing of civilians including children, starvation, deprivation of humanitarian aid, water, fuel, and other items essential to the survival of the population, sexual and reproductive violence, and forced displacement of the population.
It also notes that the October 2023 Hamas attack on Israeli communities, which killed 1,200 people and saw more than 250 hostages captured, constituted international crimes. Melanie O'Brien, the association's president and a professor of international law at the University of Western Australia, told Reuters,
This is a definitive statement from experts in the field of genocide studies that what is going on the ground in Gaza is genocide.
There was no immediate response from Israel's foreign ministry. Israel has consistently rejected genocide allegations, insisting its campaign is an act of self-defense, while contesting a case at the International Court of Justice in The Hague. Since October 2023, Israel's military operations have killed more than 63,000 Palestinians, according to Gaza health authorities, with widespread destruction forcing nearly the entire population to flee at least once. A UN-backed global hunger monitor says parts of Gaza are now experiencing a man-made famine, an assessment Israel denies. In Gaza, Hamas welcomed the resolution. Ismail Al-Thawabta, director of the Hamas-run media office, said,
This prestigious scholarly stance reinforces the documented evidence and facts presented before international courts. It places a legal and moral obligation on the international community to take urgent action to stop the crime, protect civilians, and hold the leaders of the occupation accountable.
Meanwhile, in Israel, domestic unrest is intensifying. On Sunday, Yediath Aharonoth reported that dozens of high school students blocked Tel Aviv's Ayalon highway, setting fire to school desks while chanting, "We will not allow the school year to begin." They demanded a ceasefire and a deal to free remaining hostages. Police arrested a 17-year-old boy and a 35-year-old woman, detaining about 20 others before releasing them. The protest comes as nearly 50 Israeli hostages remain in Gaza, while over 10,400 Palestinians are held in Israeli prisons. Mediated ceasefire proposals remain stalled, with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu instead ordering preparations to occupy Gaza City. In other news, Israel's National Security Minister Ben-Gvir has expanded Israel's firearms licensing reform, announcing that residents of Kiryat Gat, Kiryat Malaki, Gan Yavne, the Megiddo Regional Council, and Tel Mond, some 100,000 people, will now be eligible for private gun permits.
The reform we are leading has already saved many lives and has proven itself in the field. It is designed to enable law-abiding citizens to protect themselves and their communities.
His office cited rising security incidents and noted over 230,000 new licenses issued.